put a weapon away. Oh,
I work on a boat.
Yo.
My daddy owns your little Jewish bitch daddy. Hi, sorry to interrupt. I heard there was a Zionist here.
Yes.
Lots of Zionists.
Can I meet a Zionist?
there are more of us over here.
Yeah.
Hi. No, I'm talking to the camera.
Well, you won't
Talk
be
to
heard
her.
unless you're talking to the mic.
You know what?
No, I only care about being seen.
Have a conversation.
No, you talk to the camera.
No, I only want to. I only
hear
speak
you.
ASL.
It's a silent, unusable video unless you're talking to the mic.
What does that mean? Why would I give you some? This is my water.
Oh, you're a Zionist. I get it.
Well, that's such an easy cop-out answer. Don't spit in my sister's face.
I didn't spit in her. This
You're
is
about
spitting.
to.
That's spitting.
You go get your own water. You need some of my water.
Oh, I need. Oh, because you're a Zionist. Okay. Can I have your sunglasses?
Easy,
I can't see.
label and walk away. Easy, that's an easy cop-out answer. You're a Zionist. I can get my own agenda. That's easy. Cop-out.
very
You're a
proud
Zionist.
Zionist.
Walk away.
I work on a boat.
You put a weapon away. Oh, you're...
I work on a boat.
Yo.
Don't grab me.
Harry.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to it. Conservative Confucius back at it again. All right, we're going to be covering some crazy stuff all over the world, actually, from Melbourne, Australia, to Europe, to Amsterdam. Everything is going wild all over the world, and especially in the U.S. We got those college protests are going out of insane. We've covered them more than a few times now, but they just seem to be getting crazier and worse and worse. So let's get into it. Alrighty. Don't forget to go down there, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring the bell for notifications. All right, let's get down to it, guys and girls. Let's do it. Let's do it to it. Melbourne, Australia, Jewish student told he has no right to be on campus, even though he's a student. You have the, that's weird. It says, do you have the right? You have no effing rights at all. Zionists have no right at all.
I have a right to be here.
I have a right to be here. Zionists have no rights. Oh. Yeah, these people they don't give a crap about being hateful and anti-Semitic and racist. It's just what suits them. What type of racism or whatever suits them. It's like they'll be racist as long as it suits their narrative. And we got some ridiculous people down at Emory University. Drone footage reveals that students have been practicing riot techniques, which is insane. I mean, the riot techniques are pussy shit. Sorry for my language. I'm sorry. Cops would get through that line in 10 seconds. And the people with the water bottles, I'm guessing, are supposed to be cops, maybe. They would not be that nice to you. They would get through you in 2 seconds. They would bash. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Crazy. All right, yeah, so let's get into this one. This is at the Met Gala in New York. They break through the barriers and go crazy. They stopped for a minute, but there's actually another video which I couldn't find. I saw it a few days ago, like a couple days ago, and they managed to, 5 or 6 of them managed to get past the police barricade and get into the Met Gala, and they're running around, throwing stuff, and breaking stuff, and it's crazy. So my nose is really itchy. Allergies, man. Oh. Itchy. Long live the intifada. Okay, so if you really want an intifada, that's not good because you're calling for violence. This isn't free speech. Calling for violence calling for an intifada is like calling for a genocide. And no, it is actually. It is calling for a genocide. Calling for an intifada is like saying, I'm going to slaughter every Jew and Christian in the land, because that's what an intifada is. There's the Palestinian intifadas. There's also the intifadas in the Muslim caliphates. And their job was to kill Jews and Christians. So are you telling me that every time you say that, your intent is to kill Jews and Christians? Or is it to virtue signal? If it's to virtue signal, it's still breaking the law because you're still calling for violence. But maybe you should say something else. Because if you don't actually mean you want to kill the Jews and Christians of this country, and dismantle the whatever system you think is held up by them, then you shouldn't be saying that. Because you are calling for a violent uprising and murder and genocide, and yet you refuse to actually look at these things for what they are and say, maybe I shouldn't call for genocide. Maybe I shouldn't call for violent uprisings. Pathetic losers. So this person gets arrested for trying to interfere with another cop arresting someone else who assaulted an officer, which I think is hilarious. This person just gets immediately dealt with in 2 seconds. Just bam! They don't play no shit. I love how they act like this guy is being forced too hard, but he's not. He's just a weakling who's giving police what they need. He's not being too resistant. So they're just putting on the stuff and doing what they need to do. They're not being forceful. They're not pushing him down too hard. And he just kind of sits there for a while, but they become super aggressive, like screaming at the cops. Listen to this.
You can't fucking tie the fucking handcuffs, you fucking bitch! Get off his fucking back!
Hold on.
Get off his fucking back, you piece of shit! Stop it!
Yeah, so they scream all kinds of epithets at him. Yeah, we love you. You'll be okay. We love you. Oh. Like, dude, you're such pathetic losers. Like, you don't even know this guy. I guarantee it. And you say you love him, but ultimately, if you were in a bind, would you call him? And if he was in a bind, would he call you? No. You guys don't have any connection besides this event. You're losers who have no friends, who have no jobs, who half of the time don't even go to these schools, but go because you can get out all your anger and hate and angsty feelings. You can just go out and be as outrageously of a shitty person as possible. You can scream all the nasty shit you want to at people and be hateful and mean and aggressive, and you can get away with it because you're freedom of speech, which is just ridiculous. If that's what we're using our freedom of speech for, to just be violently aggressive and nasty and disgusting, then honestly, you shouldn't be using your free speech like that. I don't agree with that. Free speech should be used for public discourse and to say things that the government may not want us to say to each other. And if you honestly just want to use it for the most disgusting, vile purposes like that, then you should honestly think about your life and who you are and who you want to be, because that's just not a good thing to be. I mean, you're kind of a piece of crap if you're doing that. Let them go. You really think they're gonna listen to you? Let them go. Like, shut up, dude. Shut up. And these zombie freaking nut jobs just copy and paste NPCs.
Intifada, intifada. We are the student intifada. We are the student intifada. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine.
I wonder if these dummies realize that the watermelon is a symbol of Hebrew culture, of Israeli culture. The symbol is actually a symbol of Zionism that goes back to around 1920. You can actually look up the Hebrew watermelon. Just look up Hebrew watermelon on Google. And what we'll do right now, just to show you. Yep. So there's this. There's Hebrew artwork. Let me see if I can find it. Used to be a whole bunch when I typed this in. Let me see if I can delete this. Used to be a whole bunch that showed up. Kidding me? There you go. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Come on. This thing used to have a whole bunch. If you go to my Twitter page and just type in watermelon, on my regular Twitter page, which is fighting with no G, so fighting for the letter, or sorry, the number, fighting for the number rights, all one thing. Yeah, so let's get into it a little bit more. So you got the NPCs, and you have this guy. I love this guy. The average person at these protests is like the kid who isn't cool or good enough to get invited to the house party. That is hilarious. Let's get into it.
Do you think the majority of these college students honestly know exactly what they're protesting for?
The majority of these college students are here on a government loan. They are studying something unbelievably stupid.
Yeah.
They are basically being bilked for money. They have no idea. It's the next cool thing to do. The average person, I think, at these protests is the kid that isn't cool or good looking enough to be invited to a house party. So because they're not invited to a house party, they make their own, which is out here, which is why what happens when they summon these people with a flyer, 10,000 of them show up. These are 10,000 people with nowhere else to be, fundamentally. So, no, I don't believe that they have any idea what they're...
Who should the people be supporting? The people of Israel, Palestine, or should it just be everyone come together and find peace?
You cannot logically and fruitfully say that you support the people of Palestine for several reasons. One, they elected Hamas. They are amongst the most religiously Muslim countries or territories in the world. This idea that they're these beautiful, friendly people, they are extreme. They are like ISIS level. They want a caliphate. So that's number one. Number two, the word Palestinian was created in 1967 by Yasser Arafat after they lost yet another war. They are Jordanian. In fact, if one is honest, every Arab state that we know today was created after 1917. People talk about...
Yeah, I mean, not only that, Jordan is the real... If you want to say, like, what's the real Palestine? There's no area or country or anything that should be called Palestine today. The word comes from the word Philistine, which was the ancient Greek peoples of the island of Crete, who came and colonized the Gaza Strip all the way up to the city of Ashdod and Ashkelon in Israel today. They colonized that piece of land and created a city-state, which is a colonial city-state. And kind of like a colonial outpost, you could say. Kind of like how, what's it called? Jamestown in Virginia was like the first big like colonial outpost, you could say, for England in America. And same thing. So they started Philistia was the name of it. Philistia, with a PH. And that was the colonial city-state of the Crete people of Philistia. And that existed from 1147 BC, which is about 300 years, maybe 350 years after Israel, the kingdom, was founded. And Israel had been in the land for a little bit. The kingdom was founded around 1350 BC, maybe a little bit later. Some say it goes back to around 1450. It really depends because there are records in the Merneptah Stele, which is the big tablet in Egypt, that says that already in 1375 that Israel was a powerful set of smaller kingdoms unified together to fight in war, and they beat the Egyptians in a small battle or war in Sinai, and that's like 1325 to 1375 estimated. So that's pretty important to know. But you can't call someone Palestinian because that name comes from Philistia. The Romans named the land of Israel after the two ancient enemies of the Israelites, which was the Assyrians, which they called the Syrians. So Assyria to them was just Syria. And then you had the Philistines, which they didn't ever know or really meet, but they knew of them. The culture of the Philistines ended around 604 BC. So it only lasted around 570 to 585 years. And that's it. It wasn't a culture of people that existed in the land for a long time. It was a colonial power that was exterminated eventually. Not exterminated, they were actually forced out. And there was a small amount, around 1,500 people. Some say up to a few thousand people were allowed to remain in the land, but they had to integrate into Israel or the territories around it and integrate into them, assimilate, and so on. They couldn't just they couldn't keep their polytheism and all that crap. So those people, you could say, are the real Palestinians, the ancestors of them, but they're not native to the land. They're not indigenous to the land. They're Greek, they're Latin European. They're not Middle Eastern in any way. And then you have the name that the Romans gave was Syria hyphen Palestina. Palestina, actually. It's P-A-L-A-E-S-T-I-N-A. Palestina. So instead of P-L-A or P-A-L-E-S, it's P-A-L-A-E-S. And an A at the end instead of an E. So that's a major factor that no one pays attention to. That's one of the biggest reasons why there never should have been a Palestine. And there is no Palestinian identity. It's made up of a fantasy that Yasser Arafat and other people created. The Palestinian identity movement started actually a little bit before Yasser Arafat. It was around 1960, the Palestinian identity movement became a thing. And by 1964, Yasser Arafat adopted the Palestinian identity movement into his own rhetoric, and then told the entire group of Arabs living in Israel and around Israel that they were Palestinians and that they should identify this way because it gives them a unique struggle to fight back against Israel. And then they can claim themselves as the real occupants of the land and then try to justify, criticizing and attacking and whatever against Israel. It gives them a unique angle. So instead of just 5 Arab countries hurting Israel, constantly attacking Israel and making them look bad, they then can use the Palestinian people as a ploy to continue to attack Israel, but say we're doing so we can help these displaced people.
The division of Palestine. But real Palestine was right after World War I. That included all of Jordan. So what they want is not a 2-state solution. What they want is a 4-state solution. They want Israel, Gaza, Jordan, and the West Bank. And on top of that, that's not even counting Syria, Lebanon, and all the other Levantine Arab countries. The reality is that these people who have become the most metastasized form of Islamist in that region are not wanted by other Arabs. Other Arabs are so happy to push them in their fight with Israel and don't want to take a single one of them.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to. If they are Arabs, they belong in other Arab countries. So if you're going to support someone, if you want peace, the answer is population swaps, and it's to create an actual Jewish state with its own borders without a constant need to somehow provide food and water to its neighbors who also hate them.
Do you think America should be involved with this conflict? Because we are about 6,000 miles away from what is going on. Do you think we should be involved with what's going on?
So this is one of the unfortunate parts of the right, and the more fringe parts keep arguing, what does it matter to us? I mean, what do you mean, what does it matter to us? This is the only foothold of the West in the world, and certainly to many people, it isn't even about the Jews. It's actually a hatred of any country they perceive as being white and as having closed borders and any kind of nationalism. Israel to them is the last bastion of this, and they hate it so much because they only see the world in terms of brown and white. Israel is whiter, their opponents are browner, they must be right. And as far as why it matters to us, the amount of money we're throwing out there, look at some of these agencies, how much money they're taking up for nothing. They are not even close to the amount of money we send to Israel, which only can use it to buy our weapons anyway. And
exactly. The money that we send to Israel, not only they can only use it to buy our weapons, so they're actually helping our economy. But unlike Ukraine, which then takes that money and launders it and spends it illegally, Israel actually spends the money on what they need because they're in an active conflict that they need it for, but they actually give us innovations, medical, scientific, technological, inventions up the wazoo, all kinds of discovery, scientific, mathematical, physics, all of that stuff that we'll never get from any other country. That, like, Israel produces more Nobel Prize laureates, Pulitzer Prize laureates, all kinds of things. And the reason is because they strive for excellence in all aspects. The Jews, the Arabs, the Christians there, they fight for what is best, and they're in the Holy Lands. They have the blessings of God. So why would you not want to help the people, which you say your nation is founded on Judeo-Christian values, why would you not want to help the people who have the land of the Judeo-Christian homeland, and yet you're refusing to help protect it and let it get taken over by radical Islamist freaks who don't respect anything about Jesus, who don't respect anything about Moses, who don't respect anything about Judaism or Christianity? Screw that, man. I'm not letting that happen.
Final thought, and this is very important. We give Israel money because we want them to upkeep this endlessly defensive war with their neighbors. People on the left think that if we stop giving Israel money, Israel will just disappear. Israel, if we stop giving Israel money, Israel will have to start fighting offensive wars using their actual military might, because it's much more expensive to sit in this endless stalemate and defend your savage neighbors crossing your borders than it is to just flat out push them out, right? That is
and no one wants to see that. I mean, I don't agree with giving more and more and more money to Israel. I do with agreeing with a set value that's, obtained every certain amount of months and should not be increasing, like how it is with Ukraine, just continually sending more and more and more and more and more and more. Like comparing the conflicts, you have Israel over the last 5 years less than $10 billion, less than that, and in the last 2 years with Ukraine, you have $270 billion. Kind of a big difference.
a luxury to live this way. And
at least Israel's a just war with people that we support, while Ukraine is a corrupt, evil country with neo-Nazis in every freaking faction of their military.
Being pushed upon is effectively it is effectively the racism of lowered expectations. Israel's being told by the West that you need to be better than them. And why do these so-called progressives think this? Are they suggesting that they think that Arabs
they think that people who are perceived as white, even though the majority of the Jewish population in Israel is not white or European or anything, they are only, I think it's 28 to 30% of the Jewish population in Israel comes from a European diaspora, meaning that they spent their diaspora situation, when they were expelled, they spent their time, not all of it, but a good time in in Europe. And the rest of them are either Middle East or North African. Most of them are Middle East. So you have a whole bunch of Middle Eastern Jews, around 70% of the Israeli population, or 70% of the Jewish Israeli population, comes from Middle Eastern Jews. A little bit less because the North African Jews as well. But they're basically the same thing, because North Africa was taken over by people from the Middle East a long time ago. So that's why Jews went there, because there were already people from the Middle East who lived there, similar cultures. And it was easier to get there than it was to have to deal with the Roman Empire. But a lot of people ended up in North Africa because that's where the Roman Empire sent them. The Roman Empire had a lot of territory in North Africa. Some of them escaped, like my family, and able to get into Assyria and stay there for a while until the Roman Empire, started going further into that. And then they went into mainly Iran for a bit, then kind of Georgia, Kazakhstan, and then into what is now, I guess, Dagestan, in the Caucasus Mountains, then Russia, and stayed there forever. And then they went to, after the pogroms and the Russians forced them out and cleansed them from the country, they ended up in Eastern Europe, where they met the Nazis less than 50 years after getting there. So, yeah, pretty crazy. Every Jew family has its story.
Unable to make better decisions than Jews? Is that what they're saying? So if you stop funding Israel, Israel will have to go on a warpath, because Israel is never disappearing. Israel is a 1900-year-old dream of the Jewish people. We predate just about every other culture on the planet. We're not going away. Not again. So if you stop giving us money, we're just going to have to find it ourselves. So that would be unfortunate for everybody. And Israel also, America pays for a little influence, or as you see now, quite a bit of influence over Israeli politics. It's pay to play. In Russia, we have a saying, he who pays for the band orders the music. So if you stop paying for the music, don't be surprised when the band plays songs you don't like.
Yep. That was pretty good, man. I like that, dude. Smart as hell. Similar points of view on a lot of things. And this racist prick, turns out Macklemore is just a racist, anti-Semitic piece of garbage. Dresses up like a racist stereotype of a Jew I guess you would see something like on a Nazi poster. Pretty disgusting, but I thought you guys would want to see that, know what's going on in the culture. So don't be listening to his crappy music. He only had one hit anyways. Thrift Shop or whatever. And this is what, ever wonder what the mindset of the parents of Hamas terrorists is like?
Congratulated with pride and approval. The family of Hassan Katanani was congratulated with pride and approval that their son had the honor to kill a Jewish woman and her 2 young daughters while driving in their car to meet family members during the Passover holiday.
Disgusting.
They expressed their hope and wish that the terrorists' young children would go in the footsteps of their father and merit to become holy shaheed, just like their blessed father. The terrorist mother expressed herself in her own way.
We must kill the Jews in our country, in our village, with our bare hands. To kill them with our teeth, we will eat the Jews, because the Jews have always been our enemy. Allah bless me so that I can rise. So that Allah wills and my husband. And they will be Allah, as Allah wills, and my husband Hassan has willed. May they know the Quran, be righteous, and walk the straight path. So murdering Jews is righteous. And they will perform jihad for the sake of Allah. Must follow the way of jihad because of obligatory, is that what she said? Obligatory purpose? Yeah, obligatory upon us. Okay. Ridiculous. Fucking terrorists. Sorry my language. Yeah, the honor to kill a Jewish woman and their 2 young daughters. Wow, that's disgusting. Yeah, so this is going on in Rafah. Probably gonna have to blur this out for you guys after I film this, but I think you guys should see it. Depends on if they actually want me to blur it. But, so Hamas killed some people and cut off the hands and feet of, or tried to, of some people who spoke up against them.
لا لا يا ولاد ايش حرامية لا يا عم لا 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 مش لهالدرجة مش لهالدرجة ولكن يصير ضرر عشان يصير طيب ولا يصير ذهب مرة
Yeah, that's enough of that. Yeah, that's enough of that. So there's the Hamas fighters right there. You see them with their guns. It wasn't Israel. So stop listening to these bullshit lies. And yeah, I mean, Jews have been getting attacked all over the world. An Egyptian terror group murdered this Jewish man in Israel. Yeah. Ridiculous, man. And, I mean, there was an attack in, Amsterdam. And they weren't students, but they were protesting with them. And they were radical Islamists who started using wooden plank sticks, whatever, and metal poles to attack Jews. And luckily, like later that night, they were completely obliterated by the cops. But this is just something that's continuing to go on. And it's going to continue to go on until people stand up and say enough is enough, like they are at some colleges, like we covered the other day. And it seems like that's getting better and better. But until every American patriot stands up to these tyrannical terrorist pricks who do not want anything American or Western or Christian or Jewish to ever succeed, to ever stay strong, if we don't stand up to them, what will happen? They're going to obliterate us. And it's time for the people to do what the students are doing. If they have enough courage to stand up against these pricks, every American citizen should have enough courage to stand up against them. We should not be letting the young kids of this world show us how it's done. It's time for us to show them that we know how to do it as well. Alrighty, guys, I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to go down there, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and come check out some future videos and go check out the old ones. Alrighty, guys, have a good one. We'll catch you next time.